Welcome everyone at part 4.3. In this part, we will add a spline that represents the vehicle motion. This motion path is generated from the motion planning that is receiving input from the perception or from the basically all the sensors that we have, including the camera, and then probably the deep learning that would convert the data from these sensors into motion planning, as we'll see later. So as a PID controller, the spline should be attached to the vehicle here. For example, vehicle A has a different path from vehicle B and so on. So here under the vehicle blueprint, we need to edit that blueprint. So click there, go to the viewport, and you need to add a component now, which is a spline component. Compile, save. We already see now the 2 points that represent the spline. And we need to edit this spline, and basically this spline would represent our motion along these routes that we have here. So let's move to the top view and select our vehicle, and we see now the 2 points that represent now one section of that line. So what we need to do basically now is to add more points, which means add more sections, and then we would have this line interpolation between this point, which is represented in these white lines. The more points we add, the more accurate the interpolation is. When we have a straight path like here, we don't need to have too many points because actually it should be only 2 points enough at the beginning and the end. But from my experience, you need to add more in order to avoid some kind of wrong interpolation, which is, could be due to overfitting. And let's, for example, here, duplicate this 5 point, and then add another one. So here now we need to add more because here we have some curve. So duplicate, okay, then select this point, duplicate. So now I'm drawing the path the vehicle or self-driving car should follow. Now the algorithm that we will develop for cars to follow this spline or this path actually can be used within this game engine to model also characters like humans to follow such paths. So if you have a game and you want some characters to follow some certain path, then you can do that with the same algorithm. Okay, that's fine so far. Now it should be straight line. I'm just trying to make it, it doesn't really matter. Now it's straight. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. If you basically make a very long section as we have done here, you might get into this problem. So what I need to do, try to redo. Okay, we couldn't redo, so let's delete this point. and try to add more sections here. Okay, now it's fine. This is very sharp curve, as you see. From my knowledge, for the current self-driving cars like Tesla, in Europe, they are not allowed to drive along such sharp curve or curvy curve or high curvy, and that's due to some EU regulations that prevent self-driving cars from drive along such curves. So if you are in Tesla and you have such curve, you might get, or actually you would get, uh, yeah, just you're looking at this line. So yeah, you will get basically a request from the car to take control because the car is not. So I continued adding these blind points here until we closed our loop. And now this white spline represents the motion or the path this vehicle will need to follow. And this point, of course, the spline points, and the lines between them, they are the interpolation lines. So if we go here under the edit mode, one thing you need to make sure you have is when you click over spline, that it should be static. If you have it movable, you would see that the spline would move with the vehicle, which we don't need or we don't want actually, because it should be, it represents actually our road. So the road is static, so the spline should be static in this case. So there's one thing we need to, or I need to show you, which is a preparation for the next session about pure pursuit controller. So we can now actually print the closest point on spline to the head of our vehicle or to the center of our vehicle, actually, in this case. So here, basically, we need to first drag this line here and closest. So you find location closest to the word location. So find the location on spline, which is the point on spline that is closest to this location. And this location is basically is our vehicle location in this case. So I will drag this mesh that represents our vehicle mesh. And here we have the word location. It should be under transformation, this one. And the reference should be word. And let's now print that location after the controller. So if I here now press play, we can see now basically all X is moving because we are moving along the X axis, Y is not. So this is the closest point along the spline. So if I'm moving in this direction, now Y is moving, X is not. These are the points again on the spline. At this point, we will use them to estimate the head or look ahead vector in the pure pursuit controller. So thank you, and in the next session, as I said, we will implement the pure pursuit controllers using Unreal Game Engine.